Welcome back, everyone. This is page 20 in part, I think we're in part 6. My mind just blanked out there. Book 6, yep. Um, yeah, so I basically set up the scene and rendered it. I've got the other characters largely set up for later panels in this page. A lot of the work's already been done. And I have to say, I'm not exactly. It's like some of the previous parts. I'm not exactly sure why I'm recording, but I wanted to. Uh, I don't have anything in particular to say here. I just feel like recording and letting you guys in. So, I think let's cut this wide. Yeah, okay, it works. Once I see where it's gonna get cut, that works for me. This is sort of like with part um, what part was it? Part 5? See, my mind is just like it's just like the part with Wes where like when I started out, I never expected um, to do this much with Britt. What's his name here? Yeah, you can tell I'm like really prepared for this, but um, it was sort of once I finally brought it back into the office scene. Um, I kind of realized that like yeah, I had the same it was sort of like my mind just kind of starts having the same fun with him that it was having with Wes. Oops! Oh, I forgot to cut. Mm, okay, I didn't have the weirdest feeling there, but although I do have to say that I expected sort of the takeover of Cutter to be sort of a big part. I just didn't expect to put the time into like just messing with him the way I did. I kind of expected it to go more straight and deal with the takeover, but this is it's more fun this way. So where are we? I need doors. Here's my front door. I need the door. So I got all my doors. Um, when I kind of create things myself, I don't actually rig. I know you can rig a figure in Daz, but I don't actually rig. It's just for me. It's just easier and quicker to create the pieces as individual props and then just set the pivot point so that with the door I can take the Y and go wee and just open it and close it as I want. Um, let's say I close it a little bit. Okay. And I have to say, this door is not mine. It's the interior doors I created myself. This one um, was something that I kind of kit bashed to be able to, not quite a kit bash, but it was a static prop. I cut the frame and the door apart so I could make the door move. But going back to where I create the pieces, so the parent object that you see here, like where everything's labeled, the door, garage, the door, and the master bath. The parent object is the frame. So I'm going to turn the front door off, and you notice the frame goes. So there goes the frame. The door stays because it's a separate prop. And then I'll parent the prop to the door frame just to keep everything sort of organized. Um, because if I don't sort of organize into groups and parent things where necessary, the scene pane becomes unruly. It becomes a mess to work with. So let's just take him for a moment, and he's going to rotate around. Let's see. And I know in a previous video I talked about um, sort of the figures that Daz has available, and I think I talked about how I like using the Genesis One figure, sort of an old figure at this point. Um, it's, but right here is off the newest Genesis 8 uh, figure, and the bone structure is a lot different. So I think, unfortunately, you'll notice he's a lot stiffer because I'm just not used to working with him with the figure with the Genesis 8 figure. So it just feels like in my mind, whenever I work with him, no matter what I do, everything looks stiff about him. It's kind of like in some of the earlier works, sort of like the earliest Shrimp of the House stories, where I wasn't really um, yeah, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say like lazy or that sort of thing, but it's I guess where that doesn't give me that much of a. I guess when you're not like as maybe it's like when I sort of wasn't really paying as much attention to detail. It's looking back. It's sort of the characters are a little on the stiff side, sort of like him. So I think I've been kind of wanting to slowly get into working with some of the later Genesis figures because there are some interesting characters and clothing. No, I don't want that exaggerated. Let's see, I gotta bring this down because on the top pane, part of the top gets cut off. Actually, I shouldn't have brought it down. There we go. Plus 2 on the Genesis 8 figure is just a lot heavier on the memory. So that's why. So he's the reason I think that it's kind of lagging in the work here. This is already a big set. Um, then the 5 characters add to the memory load, and then he really adds to the memory load, and that's going to slow this scene down a bit to work with. So we're going to go 29 and render. Then come over here, let's grab this one and go Control C. This will take a while to render, so we can just kind of work here. We will paste that. I'm going to put it in this spot here. Okay, I really need to know his name. Characters. He is Lions. Why can I not remember that? Lions. Okay. Mr. Lions. Oh yeah, of course I should shouldn't be that hard to remember because Lions is like lying. I think we had too much fun putting Mr. Lion. Whoops, that's not a period. On the hot seat. Made him come to the house. I was hoping not to cover the potted plant there, but I think I'm gonna have to. Okay, that is good. Actually, oh my god, we're not even like through the first pass. Okay. Just snip off this border. I should just snip it off on the box and save it, so I don't have to do this every time. But yeah. And then we go layer crop to selection. Select none. Let's grab my scale tool. And I don't have any of the other sets open to work with between. Oh my god. Make this just a little bigger. Um, okay, that will work. Actually, no. Ah, shoot. I don't feel like starting a new layer, so let's just grab the paint, fill that in. Okay. Select row. Oh my god. My mind is like, invert. Okay. And this is probably why I shouldn't have recorded, but oh well. Merge down. I'm just gonna crop the layer just for the heck of it. Crop to selection. And then, damn, I really wanted that plant in the picture. Actually, if I move, just for the sake of argument, if I move you up to here. No. Damn it. Oh well. It's the plant. Shoot. Just for argument's sake, what happens if we stretch the box out? Okay, never mind. It's not going to. Okay. 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 Let's rotate. I think we had too much fun putting Mr. Lyons. Let's see. You're early Brit. I think. Let's see. Okay. This part's been this part's running a little late. It's sort of the part with Wes was so fun that it just kind of like moved. And I think once Wes, it's like story wise, once Wes left, um, we kind of moved into a transition period that wasn't quite as much fun until so it's like, well, for multiple reasons. Um, it's like sitting here creating it when these pages are taking like 2 to 3 hours a piece. It's not as much fun to work on. Save as. There we go. It's not. Oh, okay. We're moving. What are we looking at for time on this one? We're at 8 minutes. Okay, so this won't take long, so I don't need to cut here. It's kind of not really as much fun working on something like the early part of this part when you're just sitting here waiting for pictures to finish. You're doing, you get done with all the work over here, and then you're just doing nothing while you're waiting for it to finish. It's a little more fun when I'm having kind of fun messing with the characters. Open as layers. And we will scale that to 34. Ah, shoot. No, no, no. Okay, that's good. I thought this was going to be too big. This will work. Yeah, that works. So bigger to your size. Cut that. And two, edit pieces. And I think what else is slowed down. Um, if you go to the last invert, shrink, invert, and cut. I think if you go to the last scene where they were outside on the back patio. No, you know what? Just for argument's sake, let's flip that. No. Okay, not a problem. What I'm gonna do is let's go this. Just gonna go like that and flip. Okay, an anchor. I don't quite like the word bubbles when the little tail is in the middle like this, but in like this, it's the best. It's sort of the best outcome. Um, but yeah, that um, yeah, that scene was it 1 or 2 pages where they're outside on the patio. I end up rendering that in 2 layers, to get the blur in the background. Um, let's go. And while the first layer, the foreground layer with the characters, was ending up taking however long, like 8 minutes or so. The background was taking a little over a half hour. So, let's go back into home, the doors, front door. I'm going to delete the key and close the door. Excuse me. So I think one of those pages like literally took all day just the one page. I can bring him close. Come on, there we go. I can bring him closer to the door. always, I always seem to have this problem. I feel like when I do these muscle growth stories where the characters get bigger instead of the shrinking stories where they get smaller, like the doorknobs always become a pain in the ass to position them. Let's see. I think I've got to delete keys. Let's expand from selected. Oh my god. What is with all the bones just for the head? See, this is like, oh my god. This is what I'm talking about, Genesis 8 figure. Okay, let's collapse from selected. Grab the head. Okay. That one mild. Okay. Actually, before I go messing with. Okay. It's the thing is like to me, the shot always looks better when you're looking even slightly downward at the characters. But when you do these sort of like one big character and one small character, you want to be kind of looking upward when you're looking at the bigger character. To kind of give you that like perspective, but in this case we're going to have to look downward. See how it's a little more interesting looking downward. But and this one is going to be 30. Ah, even though I'm actually on a new day and this should be 28, but oh well. I'll take you. Everyone's wrong. Out to the garage. And then we'll do the ellipse there. And let's see. Oops, hold. If I bring this down, okay, that works. Let's see. Like if you've ever seen the show Land of the Giants, that's always how edit paste as. It's always how they film that show is every time you've got every time the camera is on the Giants, it's always looking upward to give you the feel that they're giant. Mhm. Merge down. And then we'll see, file save. Oops, merge that one down. Actually, no, let's start this over. Yeah, there we go. What happens is some of these corners, in some of these corners, the light doesn't seem to penetrate. So every time I work in the front foyer here, I've got to ramp up the light intensity. How about 130? I usually go 125 or 150 depending on. So let's go somewhere in the middle and go 130, and let's see what this looks like. Ramp up the light so it's not so dark. Let's see. Kind of the reason I don't have another instance of Daz open with one of the other projects to work on is because it becomes distracting. I get over there and I get into something else and I don't want to come back. Like one of those scenarios. You can only work on one thing at a time. And two, with like if you've seen the house set, I think I was showing you the house set in one video that I was working on. Uh, I feel like I've kind of hit a wall as far as sort of decorating the place. No. I know the look of this will change once, as it as it sort of resolves itself. But I'm already not liking this. Just can you just resolve the face a bit? For one, I think his face is a little too bright. Where I've been going with a slightly darker. I've been sort of letting the slightly darker look go on this. And his face is still too dark on this side. So I think what I'm going to do here, let's cancel this one more. I'm going to kind of cheat this a bit. I'm going to, let's reset that. I'm going to grab his head just so I have something to focus on when I go out of camera, just perspective view, and then focus on his head. And what I am going to do is, let's see, this is the spotlight, right? I'm going to create a new spotlight, active view transform. I want it looking right on this dark spot on the head. And we go like that. And what I'm going to do is, let's find, what are we looking for? Intensity, how about 20%? I don't want it high. And we'll just spread the angle out. So, let's go back into camera. And let's render that and see what that looks like. this should do what I want it to, what I want here, and I can just adjust the light intensity if I'm not happy with what this looks like. So let's see. This resolves. Come on. Where's the face? Oh. Ugh, it's really going to annoy me. So resolves the face. I think this might be. I think this setting might be fine. It might be what I'm looking for. I don't need his face to be super bright, but I really don't want it like super dark like it was. I feel like I've got two face here. Yeah, I think that's what I want. Okay. Yeah, that's just what I want. I'm gonna pause this and come back when this renders in 10 minutes or whatever. We've got the picture here. His face is lit up enough. Let's see. Take a look. File open as layers. Scale layer. We will go 33. Scale it. And excuse me. I may end up readjusting this. Nope, it's good. Oh. Turn the spotlight off for a minute. Let's go. What do we want to do? Doors, doors, garage. Oh, there we go. Open the door. Let's see. I'm gonna actually no. I just want him out of the way. You. Oops. Let's see. That 0. Let's see. Him, I'll look down on. Good. Yeah, so I think what I was getting at is I know in another video I was showing you um, a hint of what I wanted to do for Shrimp at the House. The project called Shrimp at the House Zero would basically just sort of a one part um, sort of beyond the fourth wall kind of setup for Shrimp at the House 10. So I ended up like, so I kind of created a whole bunch of characters and scenarios. And it's like, as I think about it, I kind of like, almost want to really use those characters and scenarios. Let's see, Shrink. I'm going the right way, right? Yes. Let's see. I don't think I'm. Every time I do this lately, it always feels like the image is encroaching onto the borderline instead of touching against it. So I'm just like doing that more and more lately, pulling the image away to make sure it's not. And what I want is how about you? See. And then I want to do. I'm not even sure if it's a Short Tales 4 or if it's. Or if I end up going to do. Oops, I forget. Or if I'm going to do something longer, like a 50 to 75 page piece. And it's sort of. It's basically the project that I've sort of got in mind for the particular set deck that I was showing before. Um, the idea is college roommates renting a house or something like that. But whatever I end up doing with it, it's like right now I've got the project labeled as Untitled 24 because I'm pretty sure this is project number 23. If I assume the short tail stories are individual projects. Um, I think the thing is, like, but I think the thing is, I want to do Shrimp of the House 10 first, which would actually make that one Project 25. Okay, so I can keep this up here. I might end up moving it. This one, I want it to end, but I really don't want to rush it, so I'm stuck. In my mind, I'm waffling between ending it with part 7 or going to a part 8. And it's more like I'm fairly certain I'm going to push this to a part 8. I think I've said before previous videos, I'm fairly certain I'm fairly certain I can unfold this comfortably to part 8 without having to put in, without having to kind of stretch with a lot of filler. Whereas I think I'm fairly certain if I try and bring this to a conclusion at part 7 is going to be extremely, extremely rushed. It's like I feel that's how like my Twin No More ended. Is the story came to a very rushed. It feels like the story came to a very rushed conclusion, and I guess like even at the time, I don't know why I didn't listen to myself, but I think what I did with my Twin No More was when I got to that last part, the part 6. Um, I kind of knew how I wanted to end the story, but I didn't know how long the explanation would go. So I ended up creating the um, the ending segment at home, and then going back and filling in whatever space was left with stuff back at the school. And I had no idea that the scene at home would go for most of the part. So the stuff at school kind of got, felt very rushed and very condensed. And it was like one of those things where I probably should have gone and just thrown in a part 7 and just sort of expanded and had it kind of light and um, fun, whatever. Just maybe not so dense. But I guess at the time, I was afraid that if I went to a part, if I did that, I was afraid that the filler would be a little too. Um, it would be a little too much padding. Um, yeah, now that I think about it, I was in a way I was coming off Little Bro, and and I did that with Little Bro, and and it was sort of like Little Bro probably could have gone to a 7, probably could have ended at a 7th part. I think it was like with Little Bro, I had it in my head what each sort of cliffhanger would be going into the next part, and I kind of locked myself into that. And there were a couple of parts where there was just a lot of filler that I probably like in my mind it would have been better without. So I think so looking back on my Twin No More, I think I was looking, I think I was like I had Little Bro stuck in the back of my head, and I didn't want to sort of pad sort of pad what would have been part 6 with sort of a lot of stupid stuff that like I personally didn't really like, just to expand it to part 7. But it's here, this story I'm kind of doing that, just throwing in a lot of, just a lot of scenes of them working out, and just the gratuitous money shots all over the place in this one, so to speak. So I'm not really worried about throwing in scenes that I don't really want. I think the only downside to this one is because this one is going to Amazon. Um, I'm not giving you any, I'm not giving you the explicit sex scenes with. Why isn't this? Okay, this should be wrapping up. Or am I missing something? Okay. I think, that's sort of the only thing. I think it's really the only thing I'm unhappy with about this part. And I'm not really that broken up about it. It's just like, I think this part really could have used a couple of mild sex scenes. But, Amazon was a bitch when it came to transforming Tyler. So, why isn't this finishing? So basically, anything I do, so it's basically I'm not going to put in any sex in any of the projects that go to Amazon. Um, okay. So I'm not imagining this right. There's nothing left for this to render to, right? This is okay. I can't say I've had this happen before. Okay, you know what? I think since it's done, I'm gonna hit cancel and see if this decides to stop being annoying. Okay. I have no idea why that one wouldn't finish. So let's go file, open as layers. And the next two pictures will go, well, they won't render any faster, but I don't have to, the next two pictures I won't have to pose because I've already set them up. Um, this is the one right here. Um, you know what? That didn't quite look right. I gotta move him over. Okay, that's what I want. Let's cut. Okay. Except he's gonna come down 1 pixel or something. Nope, too much. There we go. So I've already set up the characters with the gratuitous working out scenes. um, you know what? I think. Uh, And let's go side to side. It's going to be 32. What am I doing? I'm already lost here. Layered image size. And let's see, paste as new layer. So these two images are not going to have any text. So these I'll abbreviate instead of sitting through. Let's see. And what are we looking at on this one? Oh, this one hasn't even used. Okay, so we'll come back when this is done. So I had to actually tweak this one a couple of times and render it and re-render it. So I finally got a picture I'm happy with. We're going to save this, bring it over here. This was one of the failed attempts. I put it in here to just to see how it would fit. Let's delete it. Now let's go open file, open as layers. Now I'll bring in the one I want to do. We'll go 34. Yeah, sometimes with those failed attempts, I'll save them in order to pop them in here and make sure that they're going to fit how I want. Because, like with this one, I wanted to condense it a little bit, so I popped it in and decided to I had to tighten the shot up a little bit. Okay. So let's and then we come over here to these guys. That much. Actually, what about? And let's pull the arm back. I think the eyes. I think I need to. I don't think I. The eyes have to go side to side. I don't think I did that. And let's kind of give him a little bit more of an expression. Make it look like he's kind of taking a deep breath as he just before pushing it. I think that works. So let's renumber that one to 33 and render. And then go here. And all I have to do is size. Edit, cut. Let's see, select invert. Yeah, so going back to Untitled project number 24. I think I think where I've hit the wall at decorating the place right now is primarily because I really have to kind of take a focused look at sort of my library of models and kind of really sort of put the focus into trying to pick those pieces that I didn't consider the first couple of times that might make for good furniture decoration. And I think, let's see, save. And I kind of wish I had it open now to show you guys what I'm thinking, but I'm kind of now wishing I had put the door on the other side of the living room. Um, it was the model was based off Simon's Lament, Simon's house from Simon's Lament, and in his house in that story, the front door, if you're looking to the front of the house, it was on the right side of the living room, and when I modeled the house for something a little more permanent, I moved it to the left side, and the traffic patterns end up creating, or I shouldn't say the traffic patterns create. It feels like they create a lot of wasted space. Actually, they don't really waste any more space than it did in Simon's Lament, but it just feels that way. So it's in the living room. I kind of need to figure out some stuff to put on the back wall, and then the wall that abuts the kitchen. Oh my god. Um, I think there's probably a few things. I don't think the kitchen needs much decorating work at this point. And the master bedroom, I'm trying to think in my head, the master bedroom is still populated with is still decorated with the stuff from his bedroom. So, I've kind of got to get myself into redecorating that room, which I think the problem is I should kind of create the couple that's going to be staying in that bedroom so that I've got an idea of like what kind of a personality to give the room. Whereas I've sort of already got the two characters I want to use. I've already got like the two characters that are kind of giving me an idea on this project, inspiring this project, whatever you want to call it. Oh, and I'm gonna have to redo this one. Let's see. With these guys, um, for the body hair, I'm using a product that um, just puts a map onto a geometry shell. So the problem is the geometry shell doesn't play nice with the clothing. Um, Actually, let's turn hidden properties off. And okay, so there are no morphs. Actually, no, hold on. Let's go to perspective view and focus. So, and unfortunately, it doesn't show through the clothing in the viewport. But if I show you in the scene, you can see it right here. The geometry shell is poking through, and you see it right here. So, what we gotta do is let's put hidden properties back on. No. I think. Okay, no. I'm seeing it's from where I'm sitting. I'm seeing a spot, but it's on my monitor, not in the viewport. So, now you, Jim Shorts. The problem is if I can't see the poke through on the screen, I'm just guessing here. Okay, and show hidden. We're just gonna expand it a bit. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is actually, you know what? Let's save this just to. I'll show you what I meant about sort of spacing it. So what I'm gonna do is open as layers. I'm gonna pop this in just to make sure it fits. And it probably will, but you never know. Oh, it's small. Let me see. I had the other problem. Hmm. Okay, so with this one, I can afford to zoom in a little bit or a lot. So that's what I'm gonna do. Zoom in. Head up. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to try rendering this again. And since this is going to be trial and error to make sure I've got it right, I'm going to cut out. I'm going to cut out instead of making you guys sit through this. Delete that layer. Okay. So I just got the picture. I was ready to hit. I noticed I got like a little more problem here, but this is going to get cut off when it goes on the page, so I'm not going to worry about it in this picture, but I'll fix it for the next one that goes. So I'm going to save the picture. Oh, I forgot to delete the old one. I'm going to delete, and while I'm here, I might as well dump this into the folder. So now, and go save. Let's scale this one to 34. So I'll show you what I mean. So it's the poke through is like right here at the very edge of the screen, and you watch it. As it go down off the screen, it goes. So I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna bring him over so I can see the end of the barbell. See like that. And cut and select none. Okay. Ah, shoot. I forgot to pop the old layer back on. Not a problem. We'll just go to layer. Okay. Let's see. Layer to image size. And we will go. So this part is going. So the idea is I kind of want this part to deal with the takeover of, for the most part, the takeover of Cutter Tag. Did I invert? And then I want at the cliffhanger on this one is, and I'm not going to be spoiling anything here because hopefully, because the this part will go up before the video, so hopefully you've checked it out before watching the video. But um, I sort of want to hang the cliffhanger, so to speak, to go into the next part. is, I want his ex-wife Maxine to finally come back into the fold. That'll be the cliffhanger. Is she pops up on his doorstep? So one, two. So I've got 3 pages to play with this. Image flatten, and I think if by some chance I have too much fun with this and go over, there might be a page that I can trim out that I don't really need in this part, but hopefully I won't have to. Let's export. And it's on JPEG, so we'll hit enter. And we'll come in here, check out the page 20. I think we had too much fun putting Mr. Lyons on the hot seat, so we made him come to the house to give us his presentation. Oh, you're early, Brick. Glad you could make it. We're in the middle of training right now, so if you'll follow me out to the garage. And of course, Jeffrey, who just stood there staring at him without flinching in the previous encounter, is thrilled. And that is page 20. I hope you got something out of this. If you're still watching, I do appreciate you tuning in. I do appreciate you enjoying my work. I'm glad you do. Um, I've said it before. I don't know how. I don't think you know how much it means to me that you like it. So I hope I keep putting out stuff you like, and I will see you next time.